The Airbus A321XLR has just entered service with Iberia, so let's see what airlines are going to be expecting the plane, what the capabilities of the aircraft are, and how it might go against Boeing. Now, just playing a little bit of catch up, back in July the Airbus A321 got its certification, so testing of aircraft for customers could begin, and it was in competition between Iberia and the Irish flag carrier Aer Lingus, but problems such as pilots' pay affected the carrier. Iberia finally became the launch customer. But now that we know who the launch customer is, let's talk about the Airbus A321XLR's features. Now, probably the first thing that is most noticeable about the Airbus A321XLR is the fact that the aircraft has 4,700 nautical miles of range, and the other feature of the Airbus A321XLR that makes it unique from the other Airbus A320 family aircraft is the aircraft's 3 fuel tanks, which gives the aircraft its 4,700 nautical miles of range, but also gives it 11 hours of flying time. So now that we've run through the features of the Airbus A321XLR, let's see what some airlines are planning to use the Airbus A321XLR for. Well, JetBlue is planning to potentially expand their transatlantic network of routes to expand to more European cities, and Aer Lingus is doing somewhat the same but going the other direction and expanding into North America to places, of course, we've heard of Nashville, but the A321XLR gives Aer Lingus the benefit of going into smaller airports in the US, with Aer Lingus using a 2-1-2 kind of seating, so 4 seats on the aircraft will be considered throne seats. And one of the more interesting customers to order the Airbus A321XLR is Wesair. And they are doing something that has pretty much been unbeatable for years, and this is starting low-cost, long-haul travel. Now, if you look at long-haul, low-cost airlines, they're mainly owned by big companies that have started them to try and rival the low-cost carriers, as Jetstar is owned by Qantas, and Scoot is owned by Singapore Airlines. And the only airline that's been somewhat successful in this has been North Atlantic, as they have recently reported profits over the summer and winter months, and have been seeing good growth since their launch in 2021. But back to Wesair, and for Wesair it will mean they can start their own long-haul, low-cost travel, because the Airbus A321 has got a lower operating cost than, let's say, a wide-body, but can fly as long as a wide-body, as well with a lower operating cost. And it would be easier to operate and turn a profit with the aircraft, as it would be easier to fill, let's say, maybe 170 seats that the Airbus A321XLR has, than, let's say, filling somewhat of 300 on a Dreamliner. And Wesair have announced their first 2 Airbus A321XLR destinations, with, from the UK, the first one will be from London Gatwick to Jeddah, and from Europe it will be from Milan to Abu Dhabi. And Wesair's base fare for these flights could be as low as £70. Now, because this aircraft is smaller than, let's say, an Airbus A330 or 787, it would bring a lower operating cost, but as well would require airlines to fly into smaller airports. And as I said with Aer Lingus, their mission is to fly into smaller cities in the US, and with JetBlue flying into smaller cities in Europe, airlines can do this all over the place. And if demand is strong for some destinations, then they could add let's say their wide body, for example A330, and then add an A321XLR on a flight later in the day, and can add double daily or daily services instead of, let's say, a 3 times weekly service on a wide body, because airlines do not have the aircraft. As this has been an example on Aer Lingus' service from Dublin to Washington Dulles, as they now send daily services instead of their 3 times weekly Airbus A330 service. Now, for the final topic of this video, we're going to be seeing how the Airbus A321XLR goes up against Boeing and how it is pretty much ahead of the game. And the reason why Airbus is ahead is because Boeing doesn't actually have an aircraft to go up against the Airbus A321XLR, and the only aircraft that can do this is the 737 MAX 10, which is not even certified yet. And the range for the MAX 10 is much shorter than the Airbus A321XLR. Which would mean that Airbus is just effectively taking all of Boeing's customers, as most airlines that fly the 757 are replacing them with the Airbus A321XLR. And some of the airlines are as followed: United, Delta, Icelandair, Jet2, and Condor. And these are some of the airlines that already fly 757s and have flown them for years and are replacing them with this new Airbus narrowbody. And most notably, pretty much all these airlines have been Boeing loyalists since either their start of their life or for many years, and now they're starting to replace them with the Airbus narrowbody because Boeing has nothing to compete with it and to replace their aging 757s. So this does bring us to the end of today's video, so I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.